We are live. Welcome to the Daily Whatever.
Good morning, everybody.
I am Dana DuBois.
I'm Lawrence Witterman.
And we are joined here today by,
Uh,
a dark screen, an ogre.
An ogre puppet. What's up, ogre?
Sorry, I had
Ogre's
to
having
do
some
my
problems.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I think Ogre's having
Technical
some...
difficulties for the
Am I
ogre.
back?
Please stand by.
We see you, yes.
Okay, good. Sorry, Wi-Fi was being scutchy.
That happened to me yesterday, and I had two guests and no Lawrence, and I froze for a good, 5-10 minutes? I was just, one position. I had to
Right.
go
Oh yeah,
through-
that happened. That happened to us on our podcast. We had to cut it and restart the Substack. It just kicked out on us. It was like, oh, thanks guys, very helpful.
Oh my God, you guys, how are we supposed to be the ultra professional, polished show that we
Right.
are if you're going to cut out on us like that? She
Well, I
says that
blame
she...
Substack. They want us all doing video, and if you're gonna have us doing video, then maybe you should have it work. Substack.
Take some advice from the ogre, always. Look at all these folks coming in. Oh, let me pull up the chat here. You know what I did last night? Y'all aren't going to believe this. Before bed, I pulled up everything I need here for today.
Wow.
Which I'm usually sitting down like, oh, let me open this all up. But I prepared slightly before going to bed. What a concept.
What a
All right.
concept.
Let me open this up here. Ogre, it is so good to see your green face. So happy
Good to see you guys too. Your nod puppet faces.
We're
Blah.
not puppet faces this time.
We'll bring
Humans.
We will bring the puppets back one of these days. Maybe bigger and better, because my little girl here, she loves seeing the ogre. Hi, ogre. She gets all flirty.
Is this puppet flirting? Is that what's happening here?
It is. This is puppet flirting, but she's, I feel like we could do better than this, like...
Oh, we got Brooklyn in the house. What up, Brooklyn?
All right, Brooklyn.
Oh,
That's my old stomping grounds.
Nice.
In another life, I feel like I spent a substantial chunk of my young adult in New York, but in this life, I did not. And I wish I could be like, yeah, Brooklyn, I know just what you're talking about. But I haven't been to New York in like decades.
Well, Brooklyn's radically different from when I was there. It went from being, my neighborhood was very, very white. Then it became very, very not white. And I have no idea what it is now. But I know parts of Brooklyn got all kinds of gentrified. And now it's very hipster. So it's weird.
Yeah.
And Clint, you feel the same regarding Florida? As two of the three of us on this call grew up in Florida, and we can say you're not missing much.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I haven't been back to Florida in years at this point. You go back,
and
all
you
the
should
time,
keep it that way.
Yes, you should keep it that way. I have to go back because I have my parents.
2008 is the last time I was in Florida
for a reunion.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember that visit well. I was just there in June. So, I've got a dad in a memory care center and a mom who is, knock on wood, happy, healthy, running around in her like weird party community. She doesn't live in a community. She lives in an apartment above like a party part of Florida, like near a beach. And my 78-year-old mom just like...
is not a partier, shall we say.
Is not a partier. So it's very funny. But when I go there, I'm like, wow, this is an amazing neighborhood. I don't know why you moved here for your dotage, but here we are. Seems like something I might do.
Melissa says in the chat, my husband grew up in New York. He laughs that Bushwick is what it is now because that's where he used to go buy weed. LOL.
I know. Every time I see what it's like, wow.
And amusingly, I'm like, I do not know what a Bushwick is because no New York knowledge. I did just finish or like finally rewatch the whole thing through the original Sex and the City. So I feel like I know New York a little through it's very realistic, right? That's just what it was like. Everyone had apartments and clothes that were that nice.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And like friends, everyone had giant apartments like that and no jobs.
Right. She wrote one column a week. It was a very big job. I couldn't help but
very
wonder.
realistic.
I couldn't help but wonder if I could have had a 1-column-a-week job in the 90s and early 2000s and lived in a fancy apartment and worn designer clothes all the time. But I didn't. I didn't. I was here in Seattle by then, and I'm happy with that choice. But good thing about here, let's transition Substack. We get to meet people from all over and get all these different perspectives. So, Ogre, you really need no introduction. And yet, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to
Just
the
in
fine
case.
folks at home?
For the kids in the back row who aren't paying attention.
Exactly. Why are we talking to a puppet?
Because I'm hideously scarred from years of dealing with Nazis.
Ooh,
That's really what it is.
nice.
Yeah, no, it's terrible.
There it is.
Terrible industrial accident. It's horrible. My face is horribly mutated. Yeah, no, this is actually what I look like. So
Okay.
yeah, it's all about anonymous. But I am the opinionated ogre, and I'm here to talk about creepy pedophiles.
Yes.
Fuck the creepy pedophiles. Or
Oh
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
ew.
Don't.
Ugh.
yeah,
Never.
don't fuck them.
Ugh.
Yes.
Oh, will you make that face again? Because that was amazing. You have expression now. Do that. Ooh.
I've been practicing.
I love it. Oh my gosh, I feel like you've evolved as a puppet.
Right. Oh,
I've
Ogre,
leveled
do you
up.
spend your off time in front of a mirror practicing your faces?
No, I just do this a lot when I'm on when I'm doing the podcast with Florida Woman Rants. I just like making faces at her on the thing because she gets
Nice.
distracted, and it's very funny.
Nice.
I really want to spend some more time with Florida Woman Rants because I feel like I'm another Florida woman who rants, and you two are so funny together. So we we may need to invite her to come on, Lawrence, because I feel like
No, you should definitely invite her on. She'd have a great time with you
Yeah.
guys. You can make fun of her for being so young. You'd make her feel better. I tease her all the time about being middle-aged, but you could tell her how young she is, and she'd love you forever.
Nice.
Oh,
All right.
okay. On it. We're going to make this happen. We are absolutely going to make this happen. And I am going to give a little background here and drop some links. You know what? I lied because I'm me. I navigated away from my own story because that's what happens. I get on the internet and I'm like, oh, I better click and see what that is. But we're here today. Well, because we love Ogre, and any excuse to have Ogre back on is an excuse worth, pursuing. Words. I got to get the words making sense this morning. But I published a story. It's July 20th, so it's been a few weeks now. That story is still going. It's definitely the most viral post I've had on Substack, which makes me happy. It's called "Middle-Aged Men Keep Ogling My 16-Year-Old," and it is. I'd like to think a nuanced story as the mom of 2 teenage daughters about what it's like. To be, Gen X in my mid-50s and all that involves about moving through the world as a woman and watching my daughters come of age and um, have this sense of passing the leering baton that uh, the male gaze is less on me, which comes both with joys and, some heartaches, but mostly relief. But the immense stew of emotions it brings to watch my daughters getting leered at and worry about their safety, be sort of have the sense of pride in how they carry themselves and their brand of feminism, all of the things, right? I don't want to get into too much of the weeds here because we have talked about this story before, but I will post it in the chat. How do I copy links in the chat on my iPhone? There isn't a good way. It's really frustrating that the chat functionality. Oh, you already put it in here, Ogre. You're beating me.
Yeah, I got my 2 computer screens running, so I just popped it in there real quick.
And Rachel, Dana, I remember my own daughter ogling girls when I was a teen. Girl, same. And that part's not in the story, but I think that it is a really big part
you
of this.
hint at it in the story that.
Oh, do I? Okay.
Yeah,
See, I don't even remember.
I don't think it's explicit. It's also I knew your dad, and so I kind of remember.
Yes. I grew up with a dad who would full on driving the car be like this at any woman who walked by. That I am hyper aware of that leering male gaze because I grew up observing it and being grossed out by it while also not kind of knowing how to process or speak up about it. So Rachel, I'm with you. It's not great. It's not a great way to raise a daughter. But I posted this and it's gotten I was hoping it would cross 20,000 views before this. It was at 19,987 before we joined this morning. So
Not
maybe
that she's counting.
not that I'm counting, but that's a major milestone. I mean, that's like way bigger than anything
Our best performing story of all time by far.
Yes, which is a thrill. We've only been here a few months, so it's great. But it's gotten 323 comments as of this morning. So many of them are supportive, interesting, insightful, but a decent percentage of them are pretty horrible, really. And Ogre gave me the best birthday gift. My birthday is July 25th, so it was 5 days after the story went live. And he published, let me grab this link, the most brilliant takedown of the trolls who are just swarming this article. And you did it from a really interesting political angle, which is MAGA men are all too eager to raise their hands and out themselves as pedophiles.
Oh, God, are they?
Actually, I would love for
Super
you
excited about that.
Yes. The link is in the chat. Everyone should read this story because you will laugh, but also it's so satisfying a read. Dr. Amber said, "Love you, Ogre." Yes, 1,000%. It's very real. Here's another comment from Rachel. It's very relatable. My daughter was also, I think that's ogled as a teen, and I damn near went ballistic on my ex-husband's so-called best friend for being inappropriate and creepy.
Oh yeah, that would. Yeah.
Yeah, that is not great. Ogre, why don't you tell a little bit of your origin story of why you wrote this one? Because the way you explained it to me was really interesting, but I think folks should hear it in your own Ogre words.
Well, when I was reading it, I was reading through the comments, and I noticed immediately that the creepy guys were using the language that I've come to expect from the creepy guys on the right. And it's not just it's not just rape culture stuff, right? That's kind of baked into our culture because, America,
Right.
where it's like they blame the woman. Oh, why is she dressing like a whore? Then you can't complain, that sort of thing, right? That's in there. That's all over the place in the comment section.
Yeah.
But I started noticing that there was an awful lot of guys who were using the language of, well, it's natural. And, women peak at young ages, and it's natural for older men to look at them. And then I stopped and I started looking at those a little more carefully, and it was like, oh, yeah, it's those guys.
Yes, evolution.
Right.
It's
Right.
evolution and it's reproduction.
Yeah, and this is something I've been writing about for years. When I was working at the Daily Banter, even before it was the Banter, it was the Daily Banter. And we used to do a podcast. I used to do it with Ben Cohen and Bob Seska. And I used to argue with them about this all the time because they didn't take it seriously.
Yes.
And one of the things I try to do is look forward at what it is that's coming down the road. And it's kind of like speculative nightmare.
Right.
And it was super, super obvious to me that the whole pedophile thing was really, really deeply ingrained on the right.
Mm-hmm.
And because it was the fringe. And with the right, what's the fringe doesn't stay the fringe.
Right.
It becomes the mainstream.
Yes.
And
sorry, keep going.
Go ahead. No, what were you going to ask?
I was going to ask, do you read Lindy West?
What's that?
Do you read Lindy West?
Do
you know who that is?
Nope.
She's a feminist writer who lives here, came out of Seattle, but wrote for Jezebel for a long time, has a book her first book is called Shrill, and that was turned into a series on Hulu, but feminist writer, a millennial feminist writer. So she's been at this for a while, and she and kind of her cohort of women writers were sounding the alarm really early of like, This isn't just me being hassled on the internet. This is a huge and powerful, dangerous political force that's rising. And folks did not listen until it was too late. So as you're talking about this, I'm thinking about Lindy shrieking. She is famously, she's fat, and she says that as a non-pejorative, just as a statement, and that's what the book Shrill, a lot of it is about, is speaking out and being this huge presence, but a very big feminist force, and no one listened. So you can imagine what folks were saying to her online.
Oh my God. Yeah. Women writers get it in the neck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much worse.
And fat feminist writers times 1,000. I think you'd like Lindy's work. She's on Substack too, but most,
I'll have to go look for it.
yeah. She also writes hilarious film takedowns. She's famous for writing films in very funny ways. Oh, but keep going. There's all kinds of great comments coming in here too, but you keep going, and then we're gonna dive in.
Right. Yeah. So it was this whole thing that I was seeing where they were talking about, and I put it in my article. It's something called a sexual market value. Now, had either one of you heard of that before you read the article?
Yes.
I had not.
Yeah. And when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, that's creepy and disturbing." But the thing that I had noticed was the fact that the chart cuts off at 15, which is bad enough on its own, that it still shows 15-year-olds as being sexually desirable. But if you follow the chart to its natural curve, it shows 14, 13, 12-year-olds as still sexually desirable,
Jesus.
according to the chart, even though it's cut off.
I really wish I could screen share right now. When's that coming?
Yeah, I know.
Go to Ogre's article. It's under, can we just say his name? We're not doxing him, right? He's talking, it's the commenter who wrote everything that you're replying to. It's in Jason's section. We'll just use, and there's a lovely pink and blue chart. You can't miss it in the middle of the article.
Yeah, that guy's name is Jason Chaston, which does not sound like a real name, but whatever. He certainly doesn't use a real profile pic. But that particular guy was going on and on and on, and he wrote something to the effect. He wrote, women basically become physical millionaires at age 16 or 17 and get to wreak havoc on male minds for a dozen years.
Won't someone protect the male mind?
What?
Yeah, and I read that and I was like, and that's what I told you. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna make that guy my special friend. I'm gonna have things to say about him.
I thought it would be fun. You know how, like, on, I don't know, Jimmy Fallon, that stars get out and like read their tweets that when people are insulting them in this very deadpan voice. May I read what Jason Chastain here has to say? Because I think it would be fun to hear it read out loud.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Okay. I want you all to feel very sorry for Jason, because the female gaze is causing problems for him.
Oh, poor him.
For him.
Poor guy.
The male gaze is catching popularity as a term. It's a natural phenomena, like gravity. I wonder if women realize it's the flip side of the female gaze. I think I'll have to write about it, because there's a lot to it, but I will share a few points. Women basically become physical millionaires at age 16 or 17 and get to wreak havoc on male minds for a dozen years. So do the math till they're 29. They don't have to work for it, don't have to grind in decades of torturous work to build value. They're born with it. Men have to build their value with extreme effort, some of it ignored until past their 30s when they are finally earning. I have known young men who were wealthy. They got the female gaze. Older married women ogling them for their money or fame. They were grossed out by it, but even more turned off by the crass, grasping materialism. If he was in ordinary clothing in a McDonald's, she wouldn't look twice. Repulsive.
What?
It goes on.
It sounds like a fucking skit. It sounds like an act. It sounds like a fucking character he's playing.
Yes. But wait, we have to hear Jason's plight. I felt it too. I'm an attractive man. did some modeling in Los Angeles years ago, so I wasn't ignored like many young men. However, as I grew older, wearing a suit for my job, the female gaze was discovered. Younger women who ignored me suddenly were all seductive smiles and batting eyelashes, but their gaze was the suit, the gold watch, the wedding band, and sure enough, in shorts and a polo, the young ones didn't look as, I think that's a typo. The female gaze you see is at the wallet. They don't want the man, they want a sponsor. The male and female
Wow.
gazes will happen because they come naturally to the genders, and they each contain something despicable we don't like when we see it. Shrug emoji.
Oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my fucking God.
Can we
That
hold on
guy,
a minute? The violin. I'm playing
yep.
the world's tiniest
Let's
violin.
play that little violin again.
Poor
Hold on, let me
Jason.
wipe away my little tear.
Right. Oh, poor Jason. Oh,
Oh my God, won't someone think of the
the
Jason?
suffering. We just want somebody to love as long as she's 14 years old.
The trials and tribulations of being a white man in America.
Yeah.
How
Won't
should we
somebody think
possibly
of the
carry
white
on?
men?
A handsome young man
Right.
and a middle-aged man in a suit with a gold watch. We should all
And a wedding band. Because we all know women love nothing more than a married man because women are whores.
Women are
That's really what it
for
is.
desiring the challenge of seducing a married man. Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
But what I love about your story, Jason, is we're not just here to I want to be clear. I'm hearing Dr. Hull, who I think is on the chat, saying, don't lean into misandry. And I want to be clear, we are not picking on all men. What we are picking on and tearing down is a very dangerous subset of men online, because these men have a lot of power. These men are actually the ruling, powerful voice in our country. And it is important to shine a light on what women especially are facing on the internet every day. And this guy is funny, but is not by far the worst of what's even on my one story in terms of feeling like creeped out or dangerous. The worst ones I couldn't find because I've already blocked them. So I'm not seeing the comments anymore. But what I really love about the story you wrote, Ogre, is, well, you are a male ogre, and you are
Allegedly.
you are using your voice, your blast radius, to shine a light on what women are dealing with, and you are eviscerating them. And yes, it's a bit cruel and it's funny, which is great, but it's also really wise. You're really incisive, getting to exactly what's dangerous about what these men are saying. And your breakdown here of like, uh, you know, peak desirability for these men, really, even though the chart doesn't go to 12, 13, 14.
That's what they're talking about, though.
Right.
Yes.
That's absolutely what they're talking about. And it has seeped into the entire right wing. I mean, it is from top to bottom. If you go and you Google Republican age of consent, you will find article after article after article. I pulled up some headlines. Like, here's a couple of headlines. GOP lawmakers across the U.S. have opposed raising the marriage age, with some arguing child marriage bans would encourage abortion. Republicans want, this is all within the last 3 years. Republicans want child marriage ban exemption for military members. Wyoming Republican Party blasts child marriage bill, saying younger teens should be able to marry. GOP lawmaker, this just happened.
Younger teens. Okay, I've got it. Yeah.
Yeah, this just happened yesterday. GOP lawmaker changes law to help relative facing child rape charges. State Senator J. Stewart Adams had a relative charged with raping a 13-year-old, so he rewrote the state's consent laws. Now,
is this the one who was super anti-trans because he was worried trans women were going to attack women in the bathroom, and now he's helping get his own, family member off of rape charges? Is that the same story or a different charming story?
I'm not sure if it's Utah, so I'm sure Stewart Adams is very anti-trans, but I wouldn't be surprised at all. But to be clear, the person involved here is 18. And I don't have a problem with like Romeo and Juliet. If you're like 18, you're in high school and you're dating a 16-year-old and blah, blah, blah. You met in high school, you turned 18, whatever, that's fine. You were 17, now you're 18. There's no reason you suddenly can't be with the person that you were already being with.
Right.
But this is a 13-year-old. That girl's in middle school. High school and middle school, not okay. Right?
Not okay.
So,
I just Googled it. It is the same leader here let me put the link in. This is from LGBTQ Nation. The headline is GOP Senator who said trans people put girls at risk just helped a relative who raped a 13-year-old.
Of course.
Of course you did.
So,
delightful. Here's two more quick headlines. Republican against child marriage bans call teens, quote, ripe, fertile. Okay. And Missouri lawmakers suggest 12-year-olds should be able to get married. So, this is pervasive on the right. Yes. There are no Democrats that do this. None. You can find some arguing for Romeo and Juliet laws, but you're not going to find any saying, yes, we should let 15-year-olds marry adult men.
And I just got to say, ripe as a way of describing girls and women is disgusting. It is the disgusting word to apply to a human.
Especially to teenagers, because it implies the ripening.
Right.
Puberty is ripening. Oh, it's a terrible word.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got so squicked out. There's so many good comments that I'm sorry that I'm missing all of them. I know Melissa earlier in this chat, Melissa Corrigan, who was here on yesterday on the pod. She's awesome. She said, I got to give it to him. Not many people can make me speechless, but Jason has done it. And she was rallying around the same idea of how Republicans are trying to lower or just get rid of age of consent laws and marriage age laws. And I don't know. I got a couple of teenage girls in my house. Like they are wise, lovely girls, but they are, they got a lot of growing to do. A lot. And I mean, here,
right. They are children.
Yeah, Eileen G asks, is it called the manosphere, the dangerous misogyny on interwebs? And yes, it is. The manosphere is really fucking dangerous. Like these are, it's all part of one thing. Like the pickup artists, the incels, that's all the manosphere online, and they're fucking dangerous. Yes. That's the fringe. That is no longer the fringe.
It is not. They are emboldened and unashamed, even as the Epstein files stay in the news. They're like it's a very strange time to be championing for, teen girls. I was about to say underage women. That phrase is so pervasive in the media, and it's so wrong. Hate it. I hate it too. There is no such thing as an underage woman. It's a girl.
Right.
Just it's like, and I get very feminist killjoy about the opposite. When people describe women as girls, like, oh, the girls at the office. It's okay if women do it because it's us. But men who are like, oh yeah, the girls from work. I'm like, you may be 50 and they may be 30. They're women, and language matters. But doing it the opposite way also comes with not great intent. Ugh. I also want to point out something that Kat said earlier, and the 1 minute Daily Boost is weighing in on. Of the flip side of this is that good men don't approach women in public because they're afraid of being perceived as this. Like this problem does have other broader issues as we're trying to meet and date people. Is that I think it makes men who don't want to come off as ogling, leering monsters, as ogres, haha, not you though, not know how to come forward. And I wanted to just say that because I know Substack doesn't capture the comments. It is a painful twist. It makes it harder to be like a good guy. Right? Like,
yeah.
Well, yeah. I can't even imagine what dating must be like these days. Thank God I'm married.
Let me tell you, Ogre. I got a few stories for you.
So this reminds me, there was a meme that I saw the other day, and I wish I could remember like who said it because I would love to give attribution. But essentially, it was quoting somebody who had been in the military, and they said, when we go through weapons training, when they teach us how to use our weapons, the first rule is treat every gun like it's loaded.
Yes.
And the same thing is applicable to men, right? That women have learned through the way that they are treated by many men, not all men, but many men, that basically you got to treat every guy like a loaded gun because you just don't know if that gun is loaded or not. It's
I love
as much
that
as I
one
try to
too.
be an ally, there are moments that, you read something and you're like, fuck, that just took it to a new level for me.
Well, you know the saying, men fear women laughing at them, women fear men killing them.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved the idea of the loaded gun metaphor of like, yes, we have to assume loaded gun until proven otherwise, and to handle with care and caution.
Right. Because literally they might have a loaded gun. Like in addition to being sexually dangerous, they could also be the wackadoodle who, is a 2A'er who, concealed carries the weapons so that he can get revenge on the women who laugh at him. Yeah.
I pulled some quotes last night from the story, and I pulled some short ones. And the first one I have here happens to be from our friend Jason Chastain. I thought I'd do a few read-throughs and touch on some of the themes, but can I delight everyone with another quote from Jason because the last one was so good?
Why not?
Here's what he had to say. Seriously, I have ogled attractive women countless times through the years. Never was she in any danger of violence. That's like picking the bear because, parentheses, a small percent of men are dangerous. You selling the bear and most of us aren't buying. Eye roll emoji.
God,
So
yeah, I saw that.
This guy's a piece of work. Like he lives in a fucking fantasy land that he has created. He's insane.
Well, he's not the one that created it. He lives in that manosphere bubble online where everything, where all men are the victims of feminist plot to destroy men.
Yes. It's this tone deafness of, I looked at all these attractive women. I ogled them. He's bragging. I'm leering at them, but never were any of them in danger of violence, as if the woman could know his gun wasn't loaded. To continue that metaphor, right? No accountability.
Like, but I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy.
I'm a good guy. Here was Gareth. Gareth, I highlighted, I shared this one because he told me, I suspect you are quite safe from such behavior these days. I'm ugly.
He told you ugly. Oh my God. That's so original.
A man is telling me I'm not attractive online. That's never happened. And I want to follow it up because Elaine, the feminist, Elaine, the angry feminist, I haven't seen her name come by, but she's awesome. She commented something back, and he said back to her, I don't want to sexually excite you, only to dash your hopes, because you aren't the author's hot 16-year-old daughter. Charming.
And that tells you everything you need to know about where his mind is.
Right. Fuck you. Fuck.
Right. Delightful. But I do want to oh wait, and he had one more comment for Rich, our friend Rich Kagan,
Rich Kagan.
in France? Yeah. Which is very funny because he is a gay man. That this is Gareth's follow-up to Rich. He says he said something to him first. I didn't cut and paste that part about you're just jealous that the 16-year-olds aren't staring at you or aren't ogling you back. Not true. But then he said, as to Trump, because he said something about him being a Trumpy, I guess. I'm not in the U.S., so couldn't care less. That said, he appears to be getting under the skin of you and the old spinsters on this comment thread, so he must be doing something right. But mustache, I have some 16-year-old hotties to go leer at. There he goes again, Gareth. It's so funny. I do want to touch on that. Many men jumped on this idea of not just saying that I'm unattractive, but that I am jealous. That was a very big
Yeah, I saw a whole lot of that.
A whole lot of that. And I knew my dear friend Stuart was the copy editor on this for me, and he had toned down a sentence or two because he's like, I know that this isn't the point you're making, but a lot of men are going to jump on and say that this is fueled by jealousy. And fine, if that's what they want to believe. It's a disappointment as a writer to be like, there are so many nuanced things that came into this, like this light flashbulb moment of this guy just, leering my daughter up and down as I passed. And I hope it comes across honestly of like, yes, it is really strange as a woman my age to see a man my age and be like, oh, look, there's a man my age out in public at an event where I am. Perhaps we could meet and talk. And to be like, that dude is only interested in looking at my 16-year-old. Is there a feeling of regret as like most of the male gaze moves off? No, because most of the male gaze doesn't feel good. There is a sense of sadness of like, yeah, your sexual viability tones down as you get older. Nowhere in there is it a jealousy factor. And I want
Not
that
in
to be
that
clear
way.
because that's a trope. No, I don't look at my daughter and be like, I wish I were hot like my child. Ugh. Like, I really hope for most readers that comes through. And it is disappointing to have all of the complexities that this story is building to just get flattened to you're unattractive and you're jealous of your attractive daughter. Like, it's such a basic read and it's just disappointing. But it is also a way of men trying to negate a woman online who, I'm not here writing to be pretty, right?
Well, you're not there for the male gaze.
Right,
No,
right.
I'm here trying to convey something that a lot of other readers have related to, either as the younger women or as the moms or the dads of these girls, and trying to figure out how to both protect and embolden our kids as they go, especially our daughters going out into the world. But yeah, Gareth, thank you. Gareth has no photo of himself, so we can only imagine how attractive he is. And um, I'm gonna weep a small tear into my pillow tonight, knowing that Gareth. No, I actually may weep a small tear, only that he's the norm online. All these disgusting things he's saying about 16-year-olds is like fine and expected. Um, we also have the prudes, the Grand Mal Twerkin. That's literally this person's name. He's twerking and having a seizure. Very short. Females should dress modestly, marry for life at 16 or thereabouts, and produce many children.
Wow, what a catch. What a
Actual fuck.
catch.
Good
My
lord.
my personal favorite is the Dwarven Allfather, who just says peak fertility will do that to men, and they were always women were always just a crude prototype for robo waifus,
Oh
something
my
to give
God, what was
mankind
that?
robo waifus. What that's like a Japanese
Yeah.
it's an anime thing, but something to give mankind the basic form factor and functionality, because they're desperate for robot wives, because they think when they finally make artificial women, that it's going to be like, ha ha ha, screw women, now they won't have any power over us and they're going to be sad without men to kick around. And I keep pointing out to them, if they make artificial girlfriends, they will also make artificial boyfriends.
Right.
And what makes you think that women are going to be mad about that?
Right?
And they don't want to have that conversation.
Right. My first thought was like, fabulous. Have at it.
Right. Please
It's
go
like,
fuck
yeah,
your robot wife.
they're gonna get their artificial walking penises, and they're not gonna need you at all, and you're gonna be really, really mad about that.
Oh my
Y'all,
gosh.
I've never been happier to be a gay man in my entire life.
Right? Right? Pat is saying, so they are trying to use science as their guide here. Like women can't keep having children. So they use science when it's convenient. Yes. I think that a lot of the men who came in, there was one here somewhere. Yes, that there was this sense of like, it's evolution and you just don't understand science, Dana. You just don't understand biology and evolution. You can't fight evolution. And there was, I think, a man who came back and was just like, I'm trying to remember. I think it was, I need to pee. Like, so I'm just going to pee in the street because it's just evolution. It's just biology. Here I am. I have to pee, as if there's no control and there's no society or culture.
Well, they always
our
strip men of their agency, right? They always want to reduce men to, we're just ravening beasts who can't control ourselves. It's like, if a woman shows any boob whatsoever, then, oh my God, we can't control ourselves. It's like, actually, I'm pretty sure I can control myself.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have to look at your boobs. I may want to, but I don't have to. So, yeah.
And there is a very big difference between leering and looking. We've talked about this a lot, that when you leer, it's with intent that you want the other person to notice, and it's menacing. When you look, like, you can, we all know how to look at things and not be noticed that we're looking. There's no fault in looking and noticing. It's leering. It's ogling. That's the problem. But I do want to read, you also pointed out our friend Dan Hochberg, who said, what dishonest crap. It is their problem if they're dressing inappropriately and they know perfectly well how much power it has. And it's a sin to cause the men to feel they have to work to not notice what they're obviously going to.
And again, no agency for men.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like,
no agency.
No.
Women are the perpetrators and men are the victims.
Yes. Here's a really nuanced comment I'm going to make that these probably would make these men's heads explode. We all live as part of this culture, right? Our late stage capitalist American culture, where girls are sexualized from a young age. Go look at the 2 to 5-year-old clothing department at Target and see how short those shorts are. Like, lots of girls end up in boys' clothes when they're smaller because the moms are horrified, right? Like, you don't need to be sexualizing the kindergartners.
It's a little creepy.
It is. It is part of coming, I'm being very careful with the words I'm choosing because I'm doing this on the fly. Part of coming of age is a testing of boundaries in all areas. And as part of that, I think a lot of young girls are trying on that they are beautiful and they want to be fashionable. And so they are trying on clothes that are provocative to male eyes. It's normal. It's happened throughout time, right? That they are experimenting with what it's like to walk through the world in a woman's body instead of a girl's body. And they're learning. And as the grown-ups in the room, or in this case at the festival, like, we do need to recognize that, like, okay, yeah, that's a girl. And I will say that's a girl, not a woman. And yes, sometimes it's hard to tell. Therefore, you should make it safe for all of us. But you need to take special care at that age. This, like, teenager or teenager even, who's like first trying on grown-up clothes, right? Like, what I'm thinking of as I'm doing this is, like, my daughters, I'm thankful we have grown up in a community of, like, kids who've known each other since some of them since preschool, and their parents. And of all of the men, all the dads in this community, like, I have never once seen a look that I'm like, dude, what are you doing? These are girls. They know, I'm sure that they can see it. I'm sure that they're like, wow, young so-and-so is really becoming very beautiful and is walking around in a tank top. I'm sure they can see it. They have to, they have eyes. I can see it. But there is they know how to act around these girls who are coming of age, right? And as a society, wouldn't it be nice if there was an acknowledgement and sort of a protective feeling of, like, move out into the world, instead of feeling like we're arming our daughters for battle? Because that's what it feels like as a mom some days. Like, how do you explain
we have to teach girls to protect themselves. We don't teach boys not to prey, not to be predators.
Right. Yeah. If anything, we congratulate them, right?
Yeah.
There's like a dad-son culture dynamic that happens where, fathers encourage certain kinds of behavior. I'm not saying this is appropriate or right, but even as a gay dude, I have seen uh, you know, boys who get sort of rewarded or, oh, he's just a boy. Boys will be boys, you know.
It's just locker room talk.
It's right. It's just locker room talk. Oh, he's just full of piss and vinegar. No, you're like training your kid to be an asshole, basically.
Yeah. And it's so normalized. Um, there was one more comment here that I do want to touch on from Bill Price, because he went on, and it continued into last night. But this is where part of the comment started from, and he is trying to comfort me. Okay. If your daughter is really a knockout, don't worry about it. She'll get used to it and learn how to manage. Don't think I've ever met a truly beautiful woman who ended up scarred by the attention. The few tragic cases I've known got in trouble for hanging out with the wrong crowd and adopting a dysfunctional worldview, not for their looks. And by the way, if you want to steer her toward mentally healthier types, I'd recommend avoiding the celebration of cluster B type exhibitionism known as the Fremont Solstice Parade next year. And this comment went on to say things like, and maybe it wasn't him and someone else, but there was this idea of like, oh, the really beautiful ones don't get in trouble because they know how to comport themselves. It's the mid girls who get in trouble and who get attacked.
And again, that's just rape culture. That's, men
Right?
men aren't to blame. It's the women for not behaving appropriately.
Right.
She'll get used to it and learn how to manage. It's an expectation in coming from age. If she's really a knockout, don't worry. This is just part of coming of age and she'll learn. Um,
It's
and there was,
training women how to be objectified by men and handle their
And to
shit.
put up with it.
Yeah, like, come on. Are you fucking kidding me?
yeah,
Again, to your point, Ogre, like, it's men have no responsibility, no agency over their own bodies, and women are supposed to carry the burden of not just understanding their own bodies, but the impact that it has on the delicate male psyche. Like, what the actual fuck?
yeah. And Patrick is weighing in. This one really bothered me. He has a daughter. Yeah,
Ew.
this comment thread went on. There's just so many comments here. It's a little hard to find, but it yes, this dude has a daughter, and I'm trying to find it, but I met this wonderful woman who I think is gonna come on the show, who left these really beautiful comments for him, because if he went on to say how he had, I think it's the same guy, and I don't want to talk out of turn, but if it's not the same guy, it's as good as the same guy. That he is that girls and boys this happens to too, and that he had been, um, if he doesn't say molested, but that there had been an incident when he was young, and how protective he is, and these girls need their fathers around, and and she goes on to say, like, I'm sorry no one protected you. I'm here because he was like, he was like, they only worry about the girls, but the boys are trouble too. And she says, I wish you had all had, I wish you had been protected. I want to protect women and all children, but it's a shame that as you've grown into an adult, that you don't have more empathy. I may be conflating two comments, but honestly, it's all kind of the same, right?
Yep.
Taking trauma and not learning from it. Um, and this idea that it's part of coming of age that young women just learn to deal.
Now,
And
I do want to make a point as we close in on the end here.
yeah,
Um, Part of now, and this is one of the things. This is why I've been writing about this for several years at this point,
yeah,
because it's all part of like the Republican project. One of the reasons that the whole pedophile thing is becoming so mainstream for the right is if you look at how men and women are doing, women are thriving, right? They're
yeah,
doing better in the workplace, they're doing better in college, and men are not doing as well. And a lot of this has been going on for decades.
Right.
Women had to push harder to succeed, right? They didn't have as many rights. They were being held back. So they had to push harder, and they had to learn how to be more self-sufficient, where men were taught, well, a woman is there to clean up after you, right? She's there to do the emotional labor for you. She's there to do the cooking and cleaning for you. She's there to do the child rearing for you. That's what women are for. Whereas women were taught, you have to do everything for your fucking self because a guy's not going to do it for you. And once women got the ability to support themselves economically, there started to be this understanding of, well, I want something better from a partner other than he can help me economically, which is what women used to have to settle for. Like our parents, our generation, our parents had to find a guy to help them economically because they were not able to do it themselves.
Right.
In our lifetimes, women couldn't have credit cards, couldn't have mortgages, couldn't buy cars. Yeah.
Exactly. So they needed a husband. They had to find a husband, and they had to settle for any piece of flesh with a penis and a pulse. Right.
And a line of credit. Yeah.
Exactly. So our generation started to get away from that, but the generations after, millennials definitely were like, well, I don't have to deal with that at all because I can fucking support myself just as well as a guy, if not better, because that's what I've been trained to do my entire life.
Right.
And so now women are looking at men saying, well, I need more from you than I have a paycheck. You have to do better than that. And a lot of men don't know how to deal with that because they were just told, if you have a job, you will get a girlfriend. And you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to take care of yourself. You don't have to worry about shaving and being clean and looking nice and taking care of yourself. And, your apartment has to be clean. You just have to be there. You don't have to worry about treating her well because you have a job. And that shit don't work anymore. Women don't want just a guy with a paycheck. They want a partner. And a lot of men were not taught to be partners. So women are like, well, bye. I'm going to go find a guy who's going to be a proper partner. So they're not coping with this very well. And this is where the rage comes from. This is where the whole manosphere rage comes from. They see feminism as a huge fucking threat. So what's the answer? What's the answer? The answer is, if I, as a guy in my 20s or 30s or fucking older, if I can lock down a 14-year-old or a 15-year-old who doesn't know any better yet, well, she's going to be mine for the next 20, 30 years.
My God.
And she will not be able to leave me. Now, if you look at it holistically, if you look at everything Republicans are doing, they're trying to outlaw abortion. So you get her pregnant, she can't get rid of the baby. You make it so she can't get a job. She can't leave you financially. They're trying to dial back. They're trying to get rid of no-fault divorce.
Yeah.
Right? That's a thing where a woman doesn't need a reason to get divorced. She just says, yeah, I don't want to be married anymore. Bye. Right? So now you can't even leave your marriage. And they're trying to make women dependent on men again. They're trying to make college almost impossible. If you don't have an education, you can't get a job, and you are now going to be financially dependent on the guy who has the job.
Right.
So it's rolling back the last 50 years of feminism. They're not saying it that way, but if you listen to some of them, they know exactly what they're doing. They're talking about it that way.
Right.
And,
Ogre, I got to give you props. You have been talking about this for a long time. Like, you have been connecting the dots and telling people, I guarantee you in 6 months or 9 months or a year, someone's going to say this on the right. This is what we're going to hear next. And you're always fucking right, man.
You are.
It's really depressing.
Yeah.
Isn't it? You're like Christian. Yeah, it's a wild thing to be raising daughters right now and to want to be emboldening them so that they don't end up so that they are the future, right? That they are that this fantasy, this Republican fantasy doesn't come true, but to also make them aware of the consequences.
I
And
mean, honestly, I have Anastasia in self-defense. She's been going now for over 2 years.
Good. Yeah.
I haven't been
Lila was
doing
going
that.
for like a year, then she dropped out of it. I've been begging for her to go back because I really want them to be able to break someone's kneecap.
Right. Yeah, my eldest carries mace with like she went and bought it herself, but I'm always like, yeah, maybe I should get them into some self-defense classes. That might be part of sending them off into the world. Yeah, it's as a parent, your instinct to want to fix the world is so strong, and you also know it's so futile. You can't change the entire world, but um,
No,
yeah,
but you can always do your part. You can always do your little part.
and that's why we're here having this conversation, right? It's yeah. I'm taking in everything you just said, and all of my like flight instincts are kicking in. Like, we have to move to Ireland. We have to get out of here. There's no future here for my kids. They're going to college in Ireland, not here. Which they are Irish citizens, so it's a possibility, but easier said than done.
Yeah,
I
trust
don't
me.
know,
Me and Mrs. Ogre have had these conversations more than once about where could we go.
right? We were just looking at colleges in Ireland a couple months ago, but yeah, it's an established life is a powerful thing. It's hard to really leave, although we know people who've done it. And I do want to say, I think it was Lisa who was talking about this child abuse sex ring in the comment in Alabama.
Yeah.
And there's a link here in the New York Times from July 26th. This is like a fucked up Friday story, which, timely. That's our show tomorrow. We talk about what is the most fucked up news that maybe didn't get air that week. 7 charged in child abuse ring run from an Alabama bunker, officials say. A sheriff called it the worst child abuse case he'd seen in his 33-year career. Victims as young as 3.
Oh, yeah, that. Yeah, I saw something about that. Yeah, that was pretty fucking bad. I guarantee they're not Democrats.
At least 10 children were
Alabama.
harmed. Most of the victims were between 3 and 10.
Not trans people. Notice they're not trans.
Right. They weren't drag queens. They're not
Weren't drag
trans.
queens.
Yeah.
They weren't trans people in your bathroom.
And hey, revolutionary thought. If they were abusing boys, they're not gay either. They're fucking pedophiles. They are just fucking pedophiles.
Yeah, that is not how that works.
Right.
You're not a gay person if you're raping a little boy. That's not how that functions.
Exactly.
Yeah, Melissa just said, yeah, I hope they are mauled in prison to death, to make it perfectly clear. Yes, and I love this comment from Frank. Good guys need to learn not to take it personally when women seem afraid of them.
Right.
Yeah, I stopped taking that personally years ago. But
Yeah.
I'm like 6'1" and like I'm a big guy. I'm not like tall and skinny. I'm tall and big. So I just learned to like not take it personally.
Yeah.
It's like it is what it is. That's one of the reasons.
I'm a big dude. If a woman crosses the street when I'm walking from the opposite direction, I don't. It makes me sad, but I don't take offense. I understand exactly why she's doing it.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I started painting my fingernails. I don't do it as often as I should, but generally speaking, if they say to painted fingernails, they're like, yeah, no, he's fine.
Don't tell the secrets, but yes, that's that is kind of true, because my mind goes to like, oh, he probably has daughters and he lets them paint his nails.
Yeah, a girl said that. I went to a car wash once and she said, she saw my nails. And she's like, oh, I love your nails. And it's like, you should do that more often because I feel safe around you. I was like, huh, okay. I hadn't thought of that. And mind you, she was like half my size. And I was like, yeah, I should probably do that more often then.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know Melissa and Sophia on the show yesterday, we were talking about parenting trans kids in 2025 and what that means. And Melissa said, like, if wear a little rainbow pin, wear something so that people know that you're an ally. She lives in Virginia, so it's like less common. And she wants to distinguish from the Southern housewives conservatives. So she always wears something that has either she was wearing a T-shirt that in like the trans flag said, "You'll have to get through me first," or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
she was not being subtle yesterday. But yes, wear your rainbow, paint your nails, men. I like that we're ending with practical tips for how to
I
seem
got to
safe.
jump, unfortunately. I've got
Yes.
another show with Nick. So, Ogre, it
Yeah.
was great to see you. Thanks. Come back
We
next week and let's talk more.
Yes, I think
Yes,
we're gonna talk
absolutely.
doxing next week, right?
Yep.
We are safety on the internet and doxing and all that fun stuff. How
Oh,
one
I have
keeps
fun
one.
stories about that.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to hear them. Thanks to all of you for joining and for being a part of this amazing conversation. To echo the chat, yes, fuck Nancy Mace, fuck Grant Gabbett, fuck the Republican Party. We're gonna do one of these. Everybody's cheering who fuck insert name of awful politician. Oh, we're doing that. Love you all. Mean it.
Bye.
Bye.